Hey guys, Trevor Morris here. Welcome to Ask Me Anything.
Hey Trev, this is my COVID haircut. Did it myself. What do you think? I'm kind of wondering what piece of your own music rips your heart out every time you hear it. I have a couple of yours that do that to me. I kind of think maybe I know which one does it to you, but what is it?
Hey y'all, Ask Me Anything. Rolling on. Sheila Hockin, the Hawk, as she's known to the insiders. Great question. Tough question. To give you some context for Sheila, Sheila is the executive producer of shows, including but not limited to The Tudors, The Borgias, Vikings, Handmaid's Tale. She's a monster executive producer and someone that I feel I owe a huge debt of gratitude to for all the years and we've done a lot of work together, and I learned a lot about storytelling from her, and just for sure I'm a better composer because I know her, and she's a dear friend. Which piece of my own music rips my heart out? You know how hard it is to ask a composer which piece of music is their favorite? It's like, that's a really abstract thing for my head to get around. Because yes, they're all like children. But I thought about it, and I come to the conclusion, and I think she knows which one I'm going to pick, but so you guys know, that for me, the story goes that between season 2 and season 3 of The Tudors, spoiler alert, it's a cue from The Tudors, Michael Hirst, the writer-creator of The Tudors, and Sheila and I were having a dialogue. Now you got to realize, with a lot of times the TV shows, you just get the show in front of you, you do it and move on. But I was really invested in The Tudors. I was reading scripts on the off season, and Michael Hirst and Sheila and I were talking about how in season 3, King Henry finds Jane Seymour. Now, Jane Seymour is the wife that Henry always wanted. Gives him a son, and one of his last wives, off for their heads, didn't work out so well. She meant everything to him, and then when she dies, he really goes to the dark side. So this is a monumental shift in the story of King Henry's life. And the way Michael described Jane Seymour to me, because I hadn't shot it yet, was she's very pure, simple, beautiful, not politically motivated at all. And we knew that she was going to die, and that it was going to be kind of a fairly big deal in the way that it was shot. So to me as a composer, I'm like, okay, it has to be simple, easily stated, and it also has to be able to be turned upside down so that it become almost like I had this vision of a requiem kind of, Mahler-esque kind of, thing. So that was the challenge. So and by the way, I had never written off season for a television show before this. I've done it a couple of times since, but this was what makes the story even more memorable. So I sat down and I started working on the tune. I found something I liked. Michael Hirst ended up in LA for one of the conferences or something like that and said, "You want to have dinner?" We had never met at this point. And I said, "Sure." So we went to my favorite restaurant in Santa Monica, and we had a nice, lovely dinner. I said, "Hey, my studio is like literally 10 blocks from here. Do you want to come by and I'll play you the tune for Jane Seymour?" What was I thinking? It's after like a bottle of wine, and I'm like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" So Michael comes to the studio, and now I'm nervous as hell. There he is sitting on the couch. I mean, he's a big deal, and we just met each other in person for the first time. We know each other quite well now, but at the time it was very nerve-wracking. And as a composer, playing your theme for someone for the first time is already tough, and let alone him and sitting on my couch. So I kind of take a deep breath, and I play it for him, and I'm explaining how it's going to be better with orchestra and all that stuff that we composers do. And I turn around nervously to see what his reaction was, and he was nearly in tears. So I knew I had it, So that was already a great moment. After that, I reached out to Sheila Hockin and said, "Can we reach between the seats and find some loose change in this production so we could hire some strings and a choir?" because the Requiem thing for me really needed the choir in order to work. That I love writing for choir. So she got it for me, which was amazing. So we recorded her tune, stated, just soltasto on the strings, very simply, very gently, just a touch of vibrato. Just it was so much fun to sculpt the performance of the orchestra to fit her character. The scene where she's washing her hair, long blondish hair in this gold bowl, and the whole thing is so very Tudor-ish kind of moment. And it just worked. And then the Requiem part of it, the death of Jane Seymour, the cue on the CD is called A Howling Wilderness, which is what King Henry called his life without her in it. Starts very simply with the tune and ends up in this big grand gesture kind of way. So, as a composer, at least for me, if I'm writing something and I don't feel it, I don't expect you to feel it. So this one, I felt like, at least as a professional, I felt like it hit the brief. But as a human being, it moved me in a way that connected me to this very important character and pivotal moment. Fast forward a few years, and everyone loved it, and it was a big hit. Fast forward a few years, I started to enter into the live concert scene as conducting my music. And first in Cordoba, Spain, Tenerife Islands, and of course Krakow Film Music Festival, LA. And the Tudors and the Borgias were still kind of hot in Europe then. And I performed a suite of music, including Jane Seymour's theme. And it's funny, once you get up on stage, the litmus test of whether the music's working or connecting with the audience or not is so apparent. Trust me, when you're up there conducting and the audience. And I'm telling you, man, there's something about the Howling Wilderness cue that brings the house down. It just does. It just connects with people in an amazing way. With the images, of course, the alchemy of the what I did and what the scene is about. So you just know, you can feel it. It's in the air that visual image and that music is connecting in a way that people are responding to. I've done it. I've done it live a bunch of times. I'd do it again if I could. So it's just the whole journey about this cue is one of those cues that I can listen to and feel proud of. And again, as a professional, I think it did what it needed to do. But just as a human being, and the story of how it came to life and writing it and playing it for Michael and then recording it and performing it live, it has a journey unlike almost any other cue I've ever written. So that's my answer. The Death of Jane Seymour, A Howling Wilderness. Can we link it up below? Can we link up either the YouTube or just the music in case you haven't heard it? But put some comments below if it resonates with you, or if it doesn't, that's cool too. Just let me know what you think. But this was a fun one to answer. Thanks, Sheila. This was a fun reliving memory lane kind of a cue. So thanks for that. And let's keep the questions going, guys. This is fun. It's great to connect with everybody best we can right now. And of course, more importantly, stay home, stay safe, and talk at you soon.